they said I gotta come off the bench. Off the bench, we ain't hard to find. Locked in with the Mamba mind. The crew this year, the big three. AJ, Jaren, and Lou is here. D. Lou to my right. What's up, y'all? It's JJ in here again. And around to his right, what up? It's Jaren. Yeah. Off the bench.
Well, off the bench is back.
Let me introduce the crew this year. The big three, JJ, Jaren, and Lou is here. Off the bench, we ain't hard to find. We locked in with the Mamba mind. Stokes hit a buzzer beater for the clinch. Yeah, we off the bench. Talking stats, you talking this. Off the bench, I'm often Mike, I'm often Pip. I'm off the bench, I start a knot, I'm often this. Off the bench. Fade me out, Jay.
Yo, what's up? What's up? We back. I'm your dog D. Lou, and it's just me today. Man, listen, if y'all don't know my co-host very well like I do, my young boys be busy and trying to accomplish things in life, man, and ain't nothing wrong with that. I am a big advocate for accomplishing things in life and just working on things, and the grind never stops for either one of them. Jaren trying to get his master's degree, man, so he stayed with his head in the books. JJ got a new job. He's actually and also in conjunction with that, he's going to be a running back coach at I think it's Wheaton Warrenville High School, man. So he been going through the motions with that. So unfortunately for this particular episode, we weren't able to all get in a room together or do anything remote. And we almost just, flatlined it for this week, but it was important to all of us to make sure that we had something to air before the finals on Thursday. So I am here, and I'm here. You guys will hear me. You might get some surprises as well. But other than that, man, we're going to get right into this thing. It is episode 26. This is the Sideline Report. Man, it's been a crazy playoffs. And we are down to the last two teams, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But first thing I want to talk about is want to address this Brittany Griner situation. It's finally became to the forefront, become mainstream news, and the WNBA has been a big advocate and pushing for BG to get home. At first, it was very much so a hush-hush thing because they didn't want it. They didn't want BG to become a political pawn in the game that Russia is trying to play with the United States and keeping her like captive or prisoner, however you want to put it.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy OTBJ. Checking in, giving you guys a sideline report and the Brittany Griner situation. I think we all have our own opinions on the situation, but it's important to spread awareness about what's going on. Her situation is very interesting. I think that she's being used as a political pawn in a sense. I think that there's things that we can do to help get her situation better and obviously bring her back home. As far as other sports leagues speaking up, I think it's a interesting situation for them because they don't want to speak about a topic that they don't know much about. Also could might cause political turbulence because of the situation that she's actually in, in the situation with Russia and the U.S. So it's definitely a difficult topic, but like I said, there are people trying to bring her home. There is We Are BG, and that's the site you can go. WeAreBG.org. You can get the site. You can go sign the petition bring her back home and just try to put that motion forward and have the president, pardon her and, make it an effort to bring her back home, like I mentioned.
Trying to get BG home, man. Her significant other, I think it's her wife, I'm pretty sure she's married. She had a touching interview about, just going through everything that BG has gone through and what she's gone through as well, from just a personal standpoint, and how she's not able to talk to BG. She pretty much talks to BG through her lawyers and so on and so forth. So it's a very sad situation, man. And to put, I don't know, she said something in the interview that really resonated with me, because if this was LeBron James or KD or Steph over there in a different country and being held, I won't say captive or prisoner, it would be a completely different story. It would be mainstream news. And yeah, it's just unfortunate that, Brittany has to go through these circumstances, but also a bigger light hasn't been able to be shined on her so quickly and so often as it would if it were, one of the male athletes. And we just praying for BG to get home and praying for her safety as well, and just making sure that she's all right. Hopefully she gets home soon and returns home safe. It's just a extreme, unfortunate events, unfortunately. Moving on, man. Our boy J. Cole is back.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Off the Bench. Shout out to that boy J. Cole. Played in his first game in the CEBL over in Canada. Team, they lost. He did his thing. Showed that he ready this time. A little bit better. He looked a little bit better than he did when he was in Africa in the African League. He had a lot of people actually come and watch him play his first couple of games. Some NBA guys like Lou Dort, Drake went out there and saw him. I think it might be a good fit for J. Cole, man. He looked like he was pretty comfortable doing everything out there on the court, and he was showing that he really do got some skill out there. So shout out to that boy J. Cole, man.
J. Cole is playing basketball again. He's playing in the Canadian Elite Basketball League, it says here. Let's see what team he's on. I saw Drake was posting all type of shit about it, but yeah, anyways, just nigga J. Cole, man, he's playing basketball again. He has to stay in the booth, but hopefully he, averages more than 5 points or some shit, because I don't think he was going crazy in Africa. So, we'll see how this goes. But he did look all right. I think he had a couple points in his last game. And like I said, Drake was posting or whatever, but I don't know. We'll see.
Cole just exploring his greatness. That's basically what he's doing, man, and trying to get back into basically getting into basketball. And if you follow Cole at all, you know that he's played over in Africa. He's played ball in high school. And if you listen to any Cole music, he's an avid NBA fan. He's friends with a lot of NBA players. Dennis Smith Jr., he tight with him. And yeah, it's just Cole getting back into his bag, I guess. He is his jump shot has gotten a lot better. I can tell you that, because that was trash at first. His jump shot was a little iffy. But from the highlights that I see, he's got a little better defense as well. So, there ain't nothing wrong with a man exploring his greatness and trying to, live out a lifelong dream. Darvin Ham, ladies and gentlemen, is the new coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. And if JJ were here, he would definitely express his sentiments. You know what? Let's cut to JJ.
Darvin Ham. So my Lakers finally found, their head guy. Good guy, I think. Think he can come and bring a little success to the Lakers. It's not going to be the first year, I don't believe. But I think he's the right person for the job out of the candidates they were thinking about going after. He's been in the organization before. He's well respected around the league and by former players. He don't play no shit. Like, he gonna make y'all bust y'all ass, and he gonna make y'all play hard and play defense and everybody be on the same page, not nobody blaming each other for stuff. Y'all gonna have to come to work every day. So I think that's what the Lakers need. Need a little bit of some more enforcement. Somebody that has a voice and like the players are respected and listen to it and things like that. And another thing is he gonna challenge them as well. He really will. He's gonna try to get the best out of them every day. So you can't ask for nothing more.
Darvin Ham is one of the premier assistant coaches in the league. He was assistant coach for the Milwaukee Bucks under Mike Budenholzer. And when they won that championship, he's actually been there for a few years. He's been a very sought-after assistant coach for his presence in the locker room and just the way about himself, the way he carries himself. From what we know, he commands attention from the players. He is not afraid to hold anybody accountable. So that's got to be a plus for this Lakers team, that's for sure, because we all know that they need some form of accountability when it comes to that particular roster and making sure that they can put things together in jail. I think this is a great hire. If you look under that Budenholzer tree, who was under Pop, Taylor Jenkins, if I'm not mistaken, came from that same lineage, that same tree down in Memphis. So it's a lot of people out there, man, that's like, who is this guy? Like, who is Darvin Ham? Like, first of all, he played in the league, so he's a player, which means he'll be a player's coach on top of that. But being able to hold these guys accountable and somebody that they respect by being somebody that was already in the league and had to go through the same grind that they went through. And I mean, a lot of people said the same thing about Ty Lue. I said the same thing about Ty Lue. Like, not who is Ty Lue, because everybody knows Ty Lue from getting stepped over by Allen Iverson. But I think from a standpoint of just being able to command the attention of those guys, being able to command some focus, making sure they have some accountability is a really big thing to have in the locker room, because we know Frank Vogel wasn't able to do so as much in L.A., unfortunately.
Darvin Ham, an excellent hire, has been announced as the Los Angeles Lakers' next head coach. Like I said, I think this is a great hire for them. He has a great lineage coming from, obviously, the Bucks coaching staff. He was the head assistant there, but, with that being said, he's had that tutelage of learning under Mike Budenholzer. He's been around a championship environment, so I think it's going to be pivotal, moving into the Lakers organization where they expect championships. But also coming off of a year that was, lackluster. I think he can bring in a new outlook, new perspective on the team. Hopefully get Russell Westbrook more opportunities to be successful. But like I said, I think it's a great hire. Learning from Budenholzer, who was obviously from that Spurs background, I think there's a lot of things that he can teach or had taught, Ham, that will translate to the Lakers position. So, I think that's good for them moving forward and going to be interesting season next year, but hopefully, so, I think that's good for them moving forward and going to be interesting season next year, but hopefully, things work out for them.
The biggest thing that's going to happen is going to be what kind of roster moves can they make to make this team better, or if they are going to make any roster moves to make this team better. There's been a lot of scuttlebutt around Russell Westbrook and what are they going to do with his contract. We've been hearing that the Lakers are unwilling to give up any of their picks, any first-round picks or anything like that, in any type of trade scenario for Russ, to trade away Russ. So, man, they really got their hands tied, and Russ has a player option for $47 million, so you can only imagine that he's going to opt into that. And I don't know, man. I really don't know where the Lakers go from here. Of course, this is a great coaching hire, and I really think that he'll be able to not only hold these guys accountable, but if they do decide to not pull the trigger, but move forward with AD being the centerpiece of the Lakers after LeBron leaves or retires or whatever he may do after his contract is up. I think Darvin Ham is a good coach to help develop people. He helped develop Giannis and Chris Middleton. He's a good coach to help develop people and move them forward for the future. So I think this was not only a hire for this year, but also for years to come. Darvin Ham for years to come will set up the Lakers for, just hopefully some success. But like I said, the biggest thing is going to be what roster moves will they make. That's the biggest thing. What roster moves will they make to make sure that this team is set up to at least make the playoffs and be in contention, for championships. It's not going to get any easier. We'll imagine Golden State will be back to some degree. The Clippers will be at full force come next year. The Nuggets will be at full force come next year. Portland will retool. Looking at Minnesota, their roster will probably stay somewhat of the same, but they have some more experience. They may move a couple of pieces and things like that. So it's a lot of the West is really thick. Phoenix will be coming, looking to prove something. So it's just a lot of going on in the West, and the Lakers need some roster retooling and some moves to make. That's just evident. So we'll see what the future holds with that. With Darvin Ham being hired, guys, there is something to celebrate. A problem that the NFL definitely has, but the NBA doesn't. We now have 15 black coaches in the NBA.
Half the league is all black coaches, so that's a great thing to see. It makes sense. A lot of guys are deserving of the opportunity. They should have been got the opportunity, or they had to be assistant coaches first and things like that. But it's good to see that those guys are getting a fair chance to be, show what they can do on the coaching side as well. So I'm happy for all the black coaches for real.
Chauncey Billups of the Portland Trailblazers, now Darvin Ham, Los Angeles Lakers, Doc Rivers, Philadelphia 76ers, Dwayne Casey, Detroit Pistons, Ime, who's on potentially can win a NBA title in his first season, which would be major for black coaches, of the Boston Celtics, obviously. Jamal Mosley, Orlando Magic, Jason Kidd, Dallas Mavericks, JB Bickerstaff, Cavs, Mike Brown, newly hired Kings coach, Monty Williams, obviously coach of the year, Nate McMillan, Atlanta Hawks, Steven Silas, Houston Rockets, which they hopefully, turn around with all those young prospects down there. Tyronn Lue, Los Angeles Clippers, Wes Unseld, Washington Wizards, and then Willie Green with the buzzing, Pelicans down in New Orleans. So I know it's interesting to see the, I guess not disparity between the NBA, MLB, and NFL, but as far as black head coaches, because there definitely is a disparity. But it's also encouraging to see that, given the opportunity that these men have taken, they can lead their teams to success. And with Ime's in particularly, he can get an NBA Finals ring this year, and hopefully propel the hiring of more black coaches, and just basically show that black coaches are able to succeed at a high level and come in and get the job done. So great to see, and hopefully the trend continues moving forward. But I will say that as much as we like seeing black coaches, we would love to see black people in the front office, black people in GM positions, black people in the scouting personnel departments, things of that nature, just to, keep pushing the envelope. And it doesn't have to be just necessarily black people. It could be any people of color, any minority, and male or female. So, just progressing the overall scope of employees, overall diversity of employees is definitely something that the NBA should, just continue to push overall.
Speaking of black coaches, Monty Williams is the head of got the seat in Phoenix, and man, we've seen a lot of DeAndre Ayton talk. We know that at the end of that series with Dallas, DeAndre Ayton actually he told coach that he wasn't going back in when they were getting blown out, and this was sometime early in the third quarter. He told coach he wasn't going back in, and that, so he sat down the rest of the game. And it's been a lot of rumors and things. I heard Coach Monty said you quit on us and so on and so forth. There's in the press conference, the post-game press conference, he said it was internal. We talked about that, I think, on the last episode. And so now it's a question of will the Suns pay DeAndre Ayton that max contract that he's looking for? And it looks like, as of right now, Phoenix don't think that he is a max player. And I think they're willing to let him go out, see what kind of offers he get. And they still have the ability to match those offers, whatever offer he may get. But it's there will be some suitors for him, and I think it will be in Phoenix's best interest to somehow get a sign and trade going on for DeAndre Ayton. We heard a couple of rumors when it comes to that about who would be willing to trade for him. We're looking at, I think Atlanta was one of those names. I mean, you got the Blazers, the Pistons will probably be looking to do some things. I saw one for DeAndre Ayton going to the Pacers for Miles Turner. That could be something. I've even seen Toronto maybe trading for OG Anunoby. We've even seen some talk about maybe Chicago doing a sign and trade and sending over Vooch and Kobe White or possibly Patrick Williams with a pick. So it's a lot of talk around DeAndre Ayton. We don't know how that saga is going to end. It'd be very interesting to see where it goes because I don't know. I don't know if people don't think that he was a foundational piece for Phoenix and for these last 2 years, and I think he was. Let's cut to my boys and see what they think.
DeAndre Ayton. In his situation, he does not know if he's going to receive an extension. They just paid Mikal Bridges, and they're offering, they should offer Cam Johnson coming up. So it's interesting to see what his situation is going to look like. There was tension between him and Monty Williams, obviously before, even in the last game when they were getting waxed by the Mavericks. Monty was trying to put him in, and he wasn't going for that. So there's obviously that discourse between those two. So there's going to be an interesting route that they might take this upcoming season. As far as suitors for DeAndre Ayton, I think he needs to play with, guards, playmaking guards that can get him the ball in situations like pick and rolls. I think you saw with the Suns offense, he kind of flourished with CP3. So if you have, a ball dominant guard, that's not going to work. But if you have a guy who can create off the pick and roll and be able to, find DeAndre Ayton on either pick and pop or pick and roll for those lobs or those short mid range jump shots or jump.
Should that boy DeAndre Ayton get paid? He kind of disappointed. He disappointed me in the playoffs. He looked very soft. I'm not gonna lie. Looked like he wasn't, that type guy, like number one pick, like he should be. Especially going against guys that was drafted at him like Luka. Just doing what they do. Even though they play different positions and things, but when you get a guy like Luka who was drafted after you, everybody's always gonna compare you guys. So Aiden, I don't know if he's gonna be. They saying that him and Monty really don't get along too well, so I'm really not sure if he's gonna be brought back. If that's gonna be the move for them, I don't think he will. To be honest, I can see him going to another team. In a sign and trade. I've been seeing some things talking about the Spurs maybe as a possibility, the Thunder, the Atlanta Hawks, even the Toronto Raptors, where I think he would be a good fit, just the way they play and everything. So I would love to see him if he does get traded to either like Toronto or a team like Dallas who needs that presence, down there in the paint and stuff like that. So, but I don't see him. If it's not a max, I don't see him going back to the Phoenix because I don't believe they want to give him that max.
And I think it's very pivotal for Phoenix to get something back for him. They have to get something back for him. If they don't get something back for him, it's not gonna be a good look. So it's got to be some type of sign and trade that they gotta come up with. Speaking, I just brought up Chicago, and a lot of drama going on in Chicago. So we know that Zach Levine is going to be a free agent. He actually came out and said he's going to test free agency. We've talked on and off about whether or not Zach deserves a max contract, if he is a max contract player.
Zach Levine, the big talk of the summer probably going to be is where is Zach going? Is Zach really that guy? Does Zach deserve, that max contract? Does he have enough dog in him, I just can't see it. Like, I'm not giving Zach Levine a max contract. I'm just sorry, I can't do it. He's a little too timid for me. He can get lost during the games, go hide in the corner and stuff like that. If you get max money, you got to be that alpha dog on the team. You got to be the one who, get everybody else in line, be that voice and be that presence. And, when it's clutch time, you got to be that guy if you talk about getting max money. But the Bulls are in a really hard position because either they're going to have to give him the max because there's nothing really out there else to get, or they're going to have to do a sign and trade where they might not get the best value back. And they try to really, even though they felt like they made the right moves this past offseason, by grabbing Lonzo, DeRozan, Caruso, and those guys. But they might have to do another little rebuild, soon if they let Zach, go in a sign and trade because, like I said, the free agency class is pretty weak, and Zach to me is just not worth that money. He is not worth that. So. They do, AK will do the right thing and weigh out his options. If Zach does leave, I wouldn't be surprised if he, try to get to the Lakers, even though it would be hard. They'll probably do a three-team trade. I've been hearing about the Atlanta Hawks being a potential shooter for him. And another team would be the Mavs. I've also heard for a potential, shooter for him as well. So, it's going to be very interesting to see what the Bulls do, see if they fold and give him that max. Or are they going to, do a little rebuild and get some pieces and see what they can do going into next year. Then the next year doesn't go so good, try to bring some more free agencies in or just, I guess restart again. Man, so it's really in a tough spot right there for the Bulls.
Really know what the situation is with Zach Levine. He's expressed his feelings about going elsewhere, looking at particular the Hawks, Lakers, and Portland Trailblazers. Trailblazers are an interesting choice, but not really because, he's from Washington area. So that would be kind of something like, going back to his hometown and repping his hometown city and playing for his team. That would be pretty dope. But I think logically, he sees the Lakers or the Hawks as maybe his next destination. I think those two are more promising in the now. And in the future with two, obviously, stars. And then with the Lakers, you have LeBron and AD. I don't know how they would sway that with Russell Westbrook still there. And how they would free up money to sign Zach Levine. But it would be interesting to see if he could get that done. I think that, maybe he's time. He's ready for, to go get a ring. I think that he's, given his time in for the Bulls. But I would love to see the Bulls try to extend a contract offer to him, but it'll be interesting to try to pay him that 5 year. It's like $213. I don't know if that's ideal. I don't know if that's logical for the Bulls, especially with the pieces that we have right now. And we saw last year kind of the two with DeMar and Zach, and then it hurt when Lonzo went down, but it still was kind of shaky. The offense kind of looked kind of weird moving forward. So I don't know how that's going to work, that pair, its longevity, but I don't know. We'll see what the situation, transpires. And if they actually do pay him that $213, I don't know if he should or deserve the $213. He wasn't an all-NBA player. There's questions about his motor, his heart, and if he has that dog in him to really, put the team on his back and actually, be that guy in the playoffs. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what AK does. AK's talked about, being better moving forward. Obviously, the season didn't end the way we expected it to, but also there was a bunch of injuries that kind of detoured that route. So there's a bunch of shit going on with the Bulls that internally that can be hopefully solved before the upcoming season, because we do have a lot of pieces that are, I guess I say, prosperous or hopeful, whatever. I'm optimistic about those pieces. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
My JJ has said hell no. Jaron does not believe so at all. I don't think none of us agree that he's going to be a max player. He is a max player, and I don't know if that's because of his injuries. I would say so, not for myself. I think it's more so we didn't see that aggressiveness that we wanted to see from him. I was personally a little bit disappointed in Zach when DeMar came over because I feel like he let DeMar take the reins. And, you know, I'm all about being a team player and a team guy, but sometimes like I feel like they brought DeMar over to be a piece to go with Zach, not for Zach to take a step back and become a piece that goes with DeMar, if you get what I'm saying. And that was where I was like, man, DeMar, Zach, I wish you would have stepped up and just been more aggressive and kind of took the reins. But to DeMar DeRozan's success, or just to DeMar DeRozan and who he is, he was able to, become very impactful for the Bulls, man. And it was crazy how like impactful he was to the point where he became an All-NBA. Was it second or third team? I don't remember. I got the boys here to fact check me. But he became an All-NBA player basically, and there was an interview with LeVar Ball, and he said that he didn't think that. Well, he said Zach wasn't coming back at all, and that he didn't want to play second fiddle to DeMar. Now we know LeVar Ball is just full of hot air, of course, but it could be some truth to that, man. And if that is the case, I will be upset at Zach Levine, and I'll tell you why. Because he spent a lot of time like bigging up DeMar and like pumping him up and charging him up, saying how much of a teammate he loved him, and you know, having his back and saying he was the MVP. So, man, look, yo, Zach, if that's what you did, dog, then you fabricated, and man, that's bogus. That's bogus. So I hope there is no beef. Devontae Green came out in an interview recently. He said he doesn't think there was no beef, and he wouldn't believe nothing until he actually saw it or spoke to them and heard from either one of their mouth that it was some type of beef. I don't think that was the case, but everybody seemed to think so because they think, well, they say that Zach wants to be the man, and there was some talk about him going to the Lakers possibly. The Lakers won't be able to make that trade. It's just too much going on. I don't see why Chicago would even take back Russ. They're not going to let go of AD. They're not going to let go of LeBron to get Zach because it would have to be some type of sign and trade. The Bulls won't just let him walk. And the Lakers can't sign Zach with that cap space, like just outright. So that's not going to be a thing. So it's just, I don't know. If Zach does want to be the man, I don't see him going to the Lakers and being a secondary piece. Whether or not it would be a trade for Russ, he would be a third piece. If he wasn't, and it was any type of circumstance for the future, even, it would be AD and Zach. It wouldn't be Zach and AD, if you get what I mean. So, and then, you know, there was talk around the league about Zach Levine wasn't a topic, and Clutch got his name out there, and he became a topic. They made him relevant and popular. Not to say that he wasn't relevant before, but they made him relevant and popular in free agency to kind of gain some, Zach Levine. And that's to get his money up and to see who will offer him a good contract. So, or close to that max. Now the kicker is that the Bulls can give Zach 5 years, $212 million, and everyone else can offer him 4 years at $157 million. So if he does walk from the Bulls and entertain somebody else, he's leaving a hell of a lot of money on the table, which I don't think that he's going to be willing to do. He would have been eligible for the 5-year 260 or 250 something, if I'm not mistaken, had he made an All-NBA team, but because he didn't, he got dropped down to that 212. From the Bulls standpoint, we see AK come out and say he wants to make the team better because he sees the culture that Chicago has and he thinks we deserve a better team. So it looks like there could be some moves on the rise, but when it comes to that $212 million, man, if you don't sign Zach Levine, there's no other prominent free agents out there that you can go get to supplement that or to move some pieces. So it'd be very interesting to see what the Bulls do because me personally, I don't think they have another choice. I think you have to sign Zach Levine to some extent because there's no other choice. There's no other choice. Like, what else do you do if you don't sign Zach Levine? And it's going to be, I don't know, this free agency in this summer is going to be very interesting Very, very interesting. A lot of player options. James Harden, Russell Westbrook. You got DeAndre Ayton's out there, want his money. Zach Levine wants his money. And somebody that we'll talk to after the break, Kyrie's got a player option too. And the Nets aren't willing to give that man a long-term contract. But I'll highlight y'all after the break about that.
Yo, it's your boy TJ Stokes. Make sure you go check out my new single, Love Me More, on all streaming platforms.
It's so new to you. I wish I had been new you, world. I wish I been new you. I think I might be kin to you, world. I might be kin to you.
What's up, everybody? I'm Dario, here with Sarah of 77 Flavors of Chicago, the podcast.
Where we travel through all 77 of Chicago's community areas. We talk about the history. We talk about the great food that we try.
And their shenanigans. Y'all join us every Monday on streaming platforms everywhere for new episodes. See you then. Peace.
We back. Man, I can tell y'all one thing. I'm glad Kyrie cut his damn hair. That I know can tell you for sure. That civil rights activist fro is gone. He look much better with a fade, man. That boy. Anyway, the Nets, man, the Brooklyn Nets are unwilling to give Kyrie Irving a long-term contract because they are not sure what his stance is when it comes to playing. They don't know if he's going to be available, if he's not going to be available, blah, blah, blah. Same old song and dance with Kyrie. I did read somewhere, and maybe somebody can fact check me if you're listening to the pod, but I think I read that he did get vaccinated. I think I read that. And Kyrie Irving, let me tell you, Negro, if you finally got vaccinated, nigga, you bogus. That's all I can say about that. You go wait until after this. Come on, man. Come on, the same info that you got to get vaccinated. If you are vaccinated, I'm pretty sure it's info that you got while the season was going on. We could be in the finals instead of the Celtics. We could be in the finals instead of the Celtics. Oh my God. Thank God for the Warriors, man. But Kyrie, we could have came out the East. Anyway, man. The Nets are unwilling to give this man the deal, and KD has not talked to the organization at all. They said he has went silent. And I think that is a stance to say, hey, y'all better get it right with my boy, figure it out, because I'm not happy if he's not here. Now, that says a lot. Let's see what my boys think.
Kyrie Irving, okay? Kyrie Irving is, man, he just, you just don't know what you're going to get from him. I understand what the Nets are talking about they're afraid that they don't know if they should give him a long-term deal just because he's so uncertain. You don't know what type of Kyrie you're going to get. Kyrie might, he might retire. You never know. He might just be comfortable. He's won a ring. He has plenty of accolades. He's one of the best, top guys at the point guard position probably to ever touch the court. So, what much else does he have to prove? It's just kind of crazy that, a guy that's still so talented, you just, you can't trust him because you don't know what you're going to get out of him. So, I wouldn't be surprised if he retired. I wouldn't be surprised if he went back to Brooklyn on, a short-term deal, maybe a 2-year deal with a player option after the first year. I wouldn't be surprised if he does something like that. It's crazy that I've actually been hearing some Philly talk about him, maybe him going to Philly. I don't know how him, James, and Joel all can mesh together. That seems like a lot, but we'll see. Everything with Kyrie is just up in the air, so we'll definitely see. Did KD make a mistake? KD might have made a mistake leaving the Golden State Warriors and going to Brooklyn. Sometimes the grass is not always greener.
Man, if KD is unhappy and Kyrie doesn't get his deal, doesn't get his money, can you imagine what will happen if KD's like, y'all gotta get me out of here? I gotta roll. This summer, if that happens this summer, can you imagine what that looks like? Like, that would be insane to think that KD is asking out. The Nets, granted, where does KD go? Where does Kyrie go? What happens? A slew of things could happen if Sean Marks and the Nets don't decide to not even give Kyrie a long-term contract, but just go to the table with Kyrie and be like, hey, like, what is what? What is what? Just like the Bulls, I don't know if the Nets, what other options do you have? Now, clearly, well, I wouldn't even say clearly, because I was about to say clearly Kyrie Irving will garner more interest in Zach Levine, but will he really? Will he really garner more interest in Zach Levine when it comes to being available to play? Like, what we all know, Kyrie is a tremendous talent. Like, nobody doubts that. Nobody has ever doubted that. But being able to play it and being available, I mean, I guess if he's vaccinated now, he'd be able to play anywhere, so that won't be a problem. But injury-wise, you got to think about that. Is he taking care of his body? Is he going to be injured and not be able to play? I think Kyrie's played like 60-something games in like a handful of years, like 68 games, or maybe that's the play. I don't know, but it's something crazy. Not as crazy as Zion, but it's something crazy. So I don't know how much you can – availability is huge in the league. It's huge in the league. Like, you have to be available. So if you're injury-prone, other different issues – it's going to become a problem somewhere down the line when it comes to this money. And I think when you think about players and not playing, and like James Harden, like pull what he pulls and things like that, like, and Ben Simmons to the same degree, when you think about players, man, there has to be some type of provisions in these contracts that say you have to play a certain amount of games to get guaranteed money, or so on. They're going to have to do something like that with Kyrie, man, because I cannot imagine them I cannot imagine just them giving a contract to this man and just saying, all right, cool. Like, but it's all going to depend on Kevin Durant too, man. It's all going to depend on KD. So that's going to be really interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see and to really, like, I don't know, man. Free agency going to be crazy. I think it's going to be crazy. We thought it was crazy last year and the year before, but I think it's going to be crazy because there's so many unanswered questions right now in the league with different teams, and a lot of different teams. There's so many unanswered questions. And, man, so it's one question that we do got answered, and that's who's in the NBA Finals. We got the Golden State Warriors, my dogs, coming out of the West. And you got the Boston Celtics, man, who we were not expecting to be here. I take that back. A lot of people were expecting the Boston Celtics to be here. Look at that. That's beautiful. A lot of people were expecting the Boston Celtics to be here. I don't think we were expecting the Warriors to get here. Everybody's rooting for the Suns, but, we saw that collapse. And, I want to recap the conference finals a little bit because we didn't get a chance to do that. So recapping the conference finals, we know the Warriors beat Dallas 4-1. It was a very – I told y'all from the jump that I was nervous about Dallas because they had that dog over there in Luka, and he is a monster, man. And listen, I know there was a lot of praise given to Wiggy when it comes to his defense and so on and so forth, and I will give praise to Wiggy. But Luka still averaged like 30-something in the series, dog. Like, he had a couple 40-point games, 30-point games. Like, he was still killing. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't the fact that Wiggy was able to stop Luka, because you're not going to be able to stop somebody like that. But he was able to slow him down a little bit, get him frustrated at times, probably get him to play a little, not selfish ball, but hero ball at times, to where he had to force things and really take the rest of the team out of their element and take the team out of the game. And I think Wiggy's defense was able to help do that. And like I said, don't get me wrong, it ain't like I think Luka averaged 35 in the series, dude. Like, he wasn't D'ing them up. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't D'ing them up like that. But, he did enough. He did enough to, help contain them just a little bit, just a tad. And I think if he could do that to help on Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, it might be you never know what can happen.
Warriors in that home court advantage is something crazy. They were undefeated in the postseason thus far at home, so it's a tough battle to go in there and pull out a win. But other than that, I think that Warriors just show that they're a much more veteran team, and they're like just a well-oiled machine going into the rest of the postseason. There's things the Warriors can do, or the things that Luka can do in the offseason, which is definitely, hit the weight room, get his conditioning up a little bit, just because I feel like sometimes in that game, in those games, he kind of took plays off, not even relaxed, but just like he'd make a bad play, miss a shot or something, and put his head down, and that would lead out to an open three or a break on the other end, just, a quick run out for the Warriors, something that would start an instant run for the Warriors, and then that would just be a hole that the Mavs would have to climb out of. So it's interesting to see that. I want him to take make a concerted effort on the defensive end moving forward, because I think he can play good defense because he does have that physical strength. So it's just about him actually wanting to play defense and get stops on the defensive end, because that's what he's going to need to do if he wants to win in the playoffs. So, but other than that, I mean, just the Warriors are a veteran team. I can't speak enough about how big Kavon Looney is. It's interesting. We talk about Jordan Poole, we talk about Draymond, Clay, Steph, but Kavon Looney gives them such a valuable presence inside and just making those hustle plays and rebounds and defending. And now he's even scoring, which he could do out of high school and out of UCLA. But it's just interesting to see now that he's, taking on his opportunity and, just showing that he's obviously been molded by the Warriors. And then now it's just him, like I said, just taking advantage of the opportunity and just going crazy with it. So this is just playoffs. Anybody can step up at any moment.
On the other side of the conference, man, you had Boston and Miami, and this was a very, very, very interesting season. Series. Me and the boys would constantly say, this is a bad basketball. This shit is rough, it's ugly, and poor execution at times with teams, and like with both teams, and like, what the hell is going on? But I will say, I think that's a testament to how good both of these teams are defensively when it came to making each other work for what they wanted. And it was a knockdown, drag-out series, man. And shout out to Jimmy Butler, man, because he really, 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 really put the Miami Heat on his back. And he almost carried them all the way, man. All the way. He almost carried them all the way. We thought Boston was getting up out of there. Draymond thought Boston was getting up out of there when they were up 3-2, going back to Boston. We were like, this is over. Miami's dead. It's gone. Can't nobody score except for Jimmy. Kyle Lowry's ass. Tyler Hero's nowhere to be found. Bam soft as baby shit. I said all this myself, especially with Bam. Oh my God. I'm just Bam soft as baby shit, and Jimmy Butler scored what I think it was 40 something. He scored 40 something in game 6 in TD Garden. Crazy. Put the team on his back and willed the Miami Heat to a game 7. Then you turn around in game 7 and Miami goes on an 11-0 run, I think, to come back down within 2. And once again, it was Jimmy Butler putting the team on his back. It was really him and Bam that was doing most of the scoring in game 7. And man, like, Jimmy Butler became so undeniable, and I cannot give him kudos enough, because that man, Jimmy Butler isn't your number one option. He's not made to be a number one option. He's a good number 2. He's an outstanding number 3 option if you got him as a number 3 option. But he's not a number 1 option. Okay, he's a great complementary piece. He's that great secondary piece that's going to be able to get you over the hump. Like if you got that one star that you building around, let's say a Joel Embiid. Shame on Philadelphia for letting Jimmy go. But a Joel Embiid, Jimmy Butler with a third piece, man, crazy. You know what I'm saying? But Jimmy stepped up. He steps up in the playoffs. He loves competition. And if you know about Minnesota in the story where he took the scrubs off the bench and bust cat in them ass in the scrimmage and told them, y'all need me, like, Jimmy is a dog like no other, and Jimmy Butler needs his flowers because he willed the Miami Heat to that Game 7. He willed that comeback and damn near won the game for them. He played the whole game, and like almost had them winning this game. And let me tell you something. If the Heat would have won that game, I would have lost my mind. And there's some debate out there about, was that pull-up three that he had on Al Horford a bad shot? Al Horford was going back. He had him on his heels. Al thought he was going to drive. Yes, could he have pump fake? Could he have gave a little hezzy move, drove past Al, went for the two, tied it up, gave Boston a chance to, put the ball in Boston's court, see if they would have win. You may have gotten another shot. I don't think it's a bad shot. Statistically, it might be a bad shot because Jimmy is not a good three-point shooter. We all know that. But from this is what I want from my max player. This is Jimmy Butler, who we're talking about here, and what Jimmy does. Jimmy's going to go for the kill. Jimmy's going to cut your head off. So, I mean, he had plenty of space between him and Al for him to pull up. So it wasn't like Al was in his grill, you know what I'm saying? Like, right here, he had plenty of space to pull up. It just would have been a better percentage shot for him to drive by Al and go to the hole. But he didn't. It is what it is. But I'm not against that shot because it's Jimmy Butler, and anybody in the Miami Heat organization who's mad at the shot, I would say y'all can kiss Jimmy Butler ass. He carried y'all to that Game 7 and carried you the whole game. So you ain't got no choice but to respect it. If I don't give a damn if the man would have decided to shoot from the half court, so what? Shut up. Ain't shit you can say because he earned that. He earned it. And can't nobody tell him otherwise. He earned it.
I think Jimmy Butler played his ass off. He couldn't do any more. He really needed some help from his teammates. I'm not gonna lie. They had to figure some things out for sure. They need some more scoring, more guys that can create their own shot. They plan. They got to find out what they're gonna do with guys like Duncan Robinson, who's getting $90 million a year. That's ridiculous. Once they are, able to figure that out, they'll be able to, get some more pieces down there, see what they can possibly get out of Oladipo next year when he's, through a full season and get more comfortable and stuff like that. Letting Tyler Hero actually shine and play, with the starters next year possibly, just because he is, showing that he can compete and he can do his job, and, he's the second guy, to be able to create for his own and do things like that. And then guys like Bam, he just needs to work on a couple things on the offensive end. I like what he does on the defensive end, but he needs to be a little bit more consistent on the offensive end. If he's a little bit more consistent, the series might have been a little bit different. But once they find out what they need to do and bring some more shooting around, guys like Jimmy Butler and Bam, I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be all right. So
NBA Finals, man. NBA Finals. We out here is the Golden State Warriors, the seasoned vets, up against the Boston Celtics, who are also seasoned vets. They've been to the conference finals 4 out of the last 6 years, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So they know what they're doing. These boys have been together for a long time. They've been to the conference finals, the Eastern Conference Finals, first time in the finals. They finally gotten over the hump. So they're not no slouches when it comes to experience either. Let's hear from my boys.
I would like to see Boston perform in the half court at a higher level in the finals, especially making decisions with the ball late game, shot selection, all that type of shit. Just making sure they tidy that up and really make it a key in their game plan to take care of the ball, because they did have a lot of turnovers. But also on the flip side, Golden State turns the ball over just as much. They're 29th in the league, turn the ball over. So, they're both have to take care of the ball. But with Boston, it's just like, all right, are they going to, turn the ball over? But will Golden State capitalize on those turnovers, which will probably happen? And the vice versa can't be said about Boston, because who knows what Boston's going to do in the half court offense, because really it's Jalen and JT obviously, but Marcus can give you some. But I mean, those two guys are the ones the ball's going through. So it'll be interesting to see what they do defensively for the Golden State Warriors, obviously, and then what Boston's going to do trying to defend all the weapons that the Warriors have. Boston likes to switch a lot, so it's going to be a lot of switching on a lot of different shooters. And obviously with the Warriors, they're very skilled and very veteran savvy, and we'll take advantage of those switches, whether it be backdoor cuts, different pick and pops, different isolations to get different mismatches in certain guys. So it'll be definitely a coaching battle, and like I said, it'd be big for Ime to get his ring in his first season as a head coach, and then obviously huge for Black coaches moving forward. And then on the Warriors side, it's obviously just can those three do it again, and obviously they have the experience too. It's just whether or not they are fit and able to hold off this new power in the East, which is the Boston Celtics. So hopefully we get some great games. I think the series should go 6 or 7 realistically. I was capping with probably saying like it could go 5, but I look more and more into it. I think that it should go 6 or 7. I'm not gonna predict the team, the winner, none of that shit, because I just want to see good basketball. But I do think the series will be really, really good, and I just hope for some fireworks
to this finals. I'm very excited for the finals. I was hoping that was going to be Celtics and Warriors, and we got our wishes. I like a lot of people were, we was all hoping that. And I'm happy that, we got the wish to come true. And I think it's going to be a great series. I do have the Warriors winning in 6. I think it's going to be a dogfight, but I just think that the experience that the Warriors have been here before and done this, being able to be calm when the series and finals get intense at them last couple minutes in the fourth quarters of those games. I think the Warriors have been through all that, and they understand the test that's at hand. So I think that just gives them the edge, even though Boston is a very good team. They play great defense. This might be the most physical team that the Warriors seen in all playoffs, but still, it's too much firepower with Steph. Jay Poole, Clay, Wiggins, you really have to do your due diligence with everybody on that team, and you really can't, you can't stop all of them. Like, one of those guys is just going to go off. So, I think it's going to be a great series. I think it's going to be a lot of dog fights, a lot of, pit bull tenacity and stuff like that, Marcus Smart guarding Steph, and Wig trying to guard Jason Tatum and things like that. Clay trying to guard JB. It's gonna be a really good matchup. But yes, I do think that the Warriors should pull it out in 6, and I think they'll do their thing for sure. And I'm just excited to see how everything unfolds this NBA Finals.
I don't want anybody to think that there's gonna be a cakewalk for either team, for the Warriors or the Celtics. Of course, I'm going to be a little bit biased. I'll probably rock my Golden State jersey for the rest of every episode we have for the rest of the playoffs. But it's very interesting. I think this series is going to come down to turnovers, amongst other things. The the Warriors are 15% of their possessions, they turn the ball over. Boston, on the other hand, 14.7 possessions, if I'm not mistaken, they turn the ball over. So that is going to be where we can cancel out a lot of things. I think it's going to come down to the team that does not make mistakes, the team who is able to play 48 minutes, and that is so cliche to say, guys, the team that plays for 48 minutes. But it's really going to come down to the mental. And so many people talk about the physical when it comes to Marcus Smart, guarding Steph and being physical with him. Listen, man, this ain't nothing that Steph ain't seen before. It's been Matthew Dellavedova being physical with him. You know what I'm saying? You had multiple series. Russell Westbrook being physical with him. Various point guards being Dylan Brooks being physical with him. Like, this is not something that the Golden State Warriors have not encountered, man. This is not something that they haven't encountered. We've been here before. We've seen good defensive teams, and we've beaten good defensive teams. So let's just make no mistake about that. Boston is a tremendous defensive team. They have size. They have they play on a string to some degree. They can switch anything. And that's one thing that, may become a problem for the Warriors. And I'm really worried about that interior with Robert Williams and Al Horford. If Time Lord is healthy and that knee is all right, then that's going to be a problem because he erases so many mistakes that the Celtics may make from a perimeter defense standpoint. Being able to recover quick enough to get to block shots. There was one play in the Miami series where that man came all the way over and blocked the three. I was like, man, this dude, he's long, he's athletic. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have become great on the defensive end. Of course, you got Marcus Smart. Al Horford, a 35-year-old man who will become 36 after game one, he's looking impressive defensively. Led the league in blocks at one point in time during this year. So it's a lot to be said about the Boston Celtics, man. It's not going to be a cakewalk when it comes to Golden State trying to get another title. It won't be a cakewalk for Boston because you're gonna have to run and chase Steph. You're gonna have to run and chase Jordan Poole, and that's how Golden State isn't going to defer from what they do. They're going to run you around in circles to make your defense collapse. It's not going to become aggressive on offense and a bunch of pick and rolls and trying to get attack one person defensively or anything like that. It is going to come down to Golden State playing Golden State basketball. And I think there are a couple of X factors on both ends. I think Time Lord is going to be an X factor for Boston. I think Marcus Smart is going to be an X factor for Boston. And Al Horford is going to be an X factor for Boston as well. I think Golden State's bench is going to have to play big and play huge. I think this is going to be a test to see if Clay is going to be able to be Clay, not only on the offensive end, but also on the other end of the ball, on the defensive end, which we know he's trying to get that back. I think that's going to be a test for him. I think Draymond will eventually end up guarding Jason Tatum more often than we think, and that I want to see that matchup and see how Jason Tatum responds to not only Draymond but Wiggy's defense. They're gonna put Clay on him. Gary Payton II should be back. Otto Porter should be back. Iggy should be back. So that's two long, fairly athletic defenders that we got. And GP coming back is gonna be huge on the defensive end. And I'm also looking for Jordan Poole, man, to slow down, play with some poise, and step up his defense. So it's a lot to be said about this NBA Finals, man. Of course, y'all know I'm riding with the Warriors. I'll scream the Warriors all day. I'll say Warriors in 6, Warriors in 7, but I'm not that comfortable, making that prediction because the Boston Celtics are for real. They're no joke. Shout out to Drew Points, man. I know he's going to be rooting, and maybe we'll have him back on the show once everything is said and done. But, man, I think it's going to be a hell of a finals. I think it's going to be dope to see two teams really get after it. And hopefully, man, there's a lot of blowouts. I want to see some good basketball, some close games. We got 2 weeks that this thing stretches out for. So by June 19th, we'll have an NBA champion, and hopefully, you know, it's my boys. Oh man, but other than that, I'm gonna get on up out of here, man. I appreciate y'all for rocking with us at Off the Bench. We'll be back in the same room probably next week. I'm hoping sometime. Yeah, y'all know what it is. We out of here.
What up, Lou? JJ. Man. Here, I see you.
I think I'm ready to play.
This view is kind of nice.
Put me in, coach.
Let me introduce the crew this year. The big three, JJ, Jaren, and Lou is here.
Hey, kid, said I gotta come off the bench.